Всем привет, дорогие друзья! Вы на канале Джойс и Джек Цветок. С вами всегда я, Джек. Мы с вами продолжаем прохождение Tangle. В прошлой серии мы обошли вот оставшихся всех вот этих вот людей, кто вот его, ее, их, и показывал им всем улики и спрашивал их про подозреваемых. То есть каждого из них спрашиваем про подозреваемых и про улики, которые мы нашли. И вот теперь сейчас пойдем, значит, вперед, вот сюда, как я обещал, а потом будем их спрашивать, их вот, что там было, как это правильно называется-то, уже... Вот, подозрения. Будем спрашивать их про подозрения. Находится на башне Флоры. Значит, как она сказала, Поппи Пойнтер была в башне. И из сада пошла в башню Флоры. А вот дальше ее передвижение что-то не показывается почему-таки. Не показывается вообще. Она из... Так вот вошло все это. Но не будем сейчас об этом думать, все, давайте все же пойдем. Наконец с этим. У Салли есть какие-то сомнения, вот сейчас узнаем, о чем он думает. Задание подозреваем.
That's all the statements collected. Let's run through them all to see if anything doesn't add up.
To see if anyone's been lying.
That too.
Fitz and I were up in the Moonlight Garden most of the afternoon, and we heard this sound. Lasted about 3 seconds.
We thought it was coming from Flora's tower, so we went up there.
Her door was locked. Nobody was answering. So I made Fitz kick down the door.
Poppy and I went in. Freya was right there, laying on her back.
I left my tower and headed down towards the Grand Hall.
But in the hall, I spotted Uncle Pointer heading down the stairs.
I vacated the library, but before I could begin my ascent, Professor Pointer appeared.
I didn't know what to do, so I ran downstairs to get Fifi.
I heard someone heading down the stairs. They're just outside my room.
Someone began banging on the door. I ignored it until the someone began shouting at me.
Eventually, she let me in.
I spotted Detective Hawkshaw coming out of the library.
He emerged from the Pointer staircase, crossed the hall, and begun up the fellow staircase. As I was passing through the front door, Penelope called out from behind me.
I inquired about the professor, and she told me he'd gone up the fellow tower.
I told her what had happened. She didn't believe me. She got angry.
I thought she was playing a trick on me, so I punched her in the face.
I recognized Fiona's voice as well as the voice of my own daughter.
We left the room, and Poppy's father was waiting outside. He followed us upstairs.
I ran up the stairs, hoping to catch up with him, but Felix appeared and blocked my path.
Back in the hallway, I bumped into a very concerned-looking Penelope. She was heading up Fellow Tower to find Professor Pointer. So I escorted her.
Poppy left the room for a while. When she came back, she had her father with her, and Fifi too.
Felix and Penny arrived shortly after we did.
A moment later, we were gazing down on the body of poor Freya.
Then I took a sample of the red paint on the unfinished painting.
She took me down to the library. We were in there about 15 minutes.
I quickly decided that I should leave also. I took Penelope with me, and we both went back to our rooms in Pointer Tower.
I wanted to go back to my room, but I realized nobody had told Detective Hawkshaw anything.
An unremarkable hour passed before the gardener finally made his appearance.
I think she was annoyed about being made to wait outside so long. But when I told her about Freya, she fell silent.
That's disappointing.
What is?
All the statements line up with each other.
They don't just line up. Some of them even seem to specifically confirm each other.
Да, вот это уже открывается после того, как мы уже подозрения раскроем. То есть надо подойти специально, и вот у них всех вот эти подозрения. Надо было, кстати, это сделать, а потом пойти сюда. Но Что ж, учитесь на чужих ошибках или на моих. Так что давайте спросим все же их про подозрения, которые у нас есть.
So, this painting, specifically that knife in Flora's hand.
Yeah, it's creepy. But we didn't find a knife anywhere in the room. So what's going on?
It's not a knife. We need a clue to compare with the painting. Something to explain what that knife shape actually is.
А у нас есть книжка.
Let's take a closer look at this.
То есть не просто книжка. То есть надо... Вот здесь нарисован нож с пером.
The painted knife is actually just a feather from an ink-dip bird.
It's definitely the right shape, but the book's not in color. The thing Flora's holding in the painting is red and white, specifically. Is there anything to suggest that the ink-dip bird is red and white too?
Есть. И... Это фигурки, которые Феликс решил
This little
сделать
thing.
на ее день
I don't
рождения.
understand why Felix would make a model of this bird as part of a gift for Flora. And come to think of it, why would Flora be holding a feather in the painting anyway?
The ink-dip bird was Flora's pet, so she kept a single feather to remember it by.
She kept the bird as a pet. And it died?
Maybe it flew away.
Flora spends all her time staring out the window.
Either way, she kept the feather. I think it was pretty important to her.
И перо
Alright.
хранилось в специальном
So
месте.
she was holding the feather while Freya was painting her. But where is it now? You'd think she'd keep it somewhere close by.
Yeah, I think she does. Normally. This is where Flora usually keeps her feather.
В пустом яйце, в хрустальном.
But we opened it. It's empty.
Mm-hmm. Completely empty.
Ну хранит-то его она там.
Flora? She's pointing at something in the corner of the room.
It's just a pile of books. They're not... Wait. There's something tucked inside this one.
Рисунки Флоры. Рисунки, на которых нарисована Флора с небольшой птицей. На обратной стороне сделана от руки надпись «Это тебе, с любовью, Фрея». У-у-у. Как мило. И у нас появилась новая улика.
I like these drawings, Flora.
Is there a reason why you wanted us to see them?
Ну, дело это в подозрениях все равно ничего не решит, но вот поинтересоваться, что скажут детективы этим персонажам, и что персонажи скажут насчет этой улики, очень интересно.
These drawings are quite precious. I'm surprised Flora let you see them.
What happened to the bird? Did it die?
I don't know. Seems likely, though, doesn't it?
So, about this paint we found in your room.
Nothing suspicious about it. I used it to paint, obviously. Totally normal thing to do.
We never said it was suspicious.
Come on, then. Out with it. What exactly are you accusing me of?
It's not your paint pot. Did you take it from somewhere else?
What on earth? It's definitely mine. I even have proof. Look, the lid matches the ones on all my other paint pots. End of discussion.
That's not the end of the discussion.
We need a clue to compare with Felix's red paint. Something to prove who it actually belongs to.
Да, очень легко.
Let's take a closer look at this. Freya's red paint pot was stolen and replaced with Felix's red paint pot, but the lids were swapped to hide it.
That red paint is from Freya's supplies, not yours. Swapping the lids doesn't hide what you did.
Why are you bothering me about paint anyway? And none of this is connected to your murder.
This red paint pot was somehow filled with blood before Freya used it to paint Flora.
Oh, that's definitely something. Right, fine. Here's the story. I was busy working on a project when I suddenly realized I had run out of red paint. There was a certain amount of time pressure. So I politely asked Freya if I could borrow hers. Just for a little while, you know. Perfectly reasonable request.
But she said no.
I tried to explain why I needed it, but she didn't seem to care. So, well, I took Freya's red paint pot and swapped it with my own empty one.
You went into her room?
Not my proudest moment. But it's just paint. I didn't touch anything else.
And the paint pot you left behind was definitely empty?
Quite. I have absolutely no idea how it got blood in it, if that's what you're asking.
Why were you in such a hurry to get a hold of red paint anyway?
I was trying to finish this in time for Flora's birthday. I needed red to paint the final details.
Could you not have just used a different color?
Out of the question. It had to be red and white.
If you managed to finish it, why haven't you given it to Flora yet?
Well, I decided against it in the end. After what happened, seemed a bit insensitive.
Ну, вообще так оно и есть. Ну, представьте, если бы, например, на ваш день рождения, наверное, да, умер бы человек. Ваш, ну, такой знакомый, любимый, наверное. И, ну, то есть не на ваш, вот, а вот у вас есть любимый человек, у него на день рождения умер другой значимый для него человек. Вы же не подарите сделанный, ну, подарок на тот же день рождения, потому что это будет бестактно, что ли. Это будет, наверное, бестактно, поэтому, да, я тут с Феликсом согласен насчет этого.
Freya drew these,
Yeah, I think so. There's a note on the back.
but she never showed them to me.
Well, I think it was a gift for your mother, like a private thing between Freya and Flora.
Is this your diary, Fifi? We found it in your bedroom.
Of course it is mine. Ridiculous question.
Why is it locked up like that?
Would you seriously require an explanation? Very well. A fairly common concept, the so-called secret diary, is favored in particular by girls between the ages of 10
So, there are secrets written here?
and this particular diary is unused.
It doesn't look unused.
It's somebody else's diary.
How could you arrive at that conclusion? It is kept in my bedroom. It is mine.
We need a clue to compare with the diary. Something to prove who the original owner was. Let's take a closer look at this. This blue book is somewhat similar to the secret diary, which proves it belonged to Freya. Almost. Maybe just...
Так,
This blue book
Да,
is the
то есть
same
то же
thing
самое,
as
что и
the
тайный
secret
дневник.
diary, which proves it belonged to Freya.
You were hiding Freya's diary in your room, and you kept it locked, too.
Why would I do either of these things?
Fifi didn't want anyone to see personal secrets within Freya's diary.
Is this true, Fifi?
I know Freya was your friend, but if you're trying to hide something,
You did not know Freya, so this might be difficult to understand. She did her own thing, in her own way. By concealing Freya's written accounts, it is simply my intention to preserve her innocence.
Innocence?
might be easier if you just let us read the diary, Fifi.
Very well. I will open it. However, as you read it, please remember, Freya was the most kind and the most wise person I have ever known.
Alright, Fifi unlocked the diary.
Finally. What's in there?
Она вернулась, на этот раз во плоти. Это я его выпустила. Может, мне стоит разорвать эту картину на куски? Душенос сработал. Удивительная штучка. Теперь у меня их 2. Нужно еще 2. Пробралась в центр. Удивительно просто по сравнению с Афрой. Я их видела, всех 5, с вычеркнутыми глазами. Несмотря на все, я должна сохранить свое обещание. Я сделаю все, что смогу. Ей пойдет на пользу обещание. Ага. Так. Что это было за общение и кому? Что при этом еще и общение.
What's this? Is it a clue?
We don't actually know. But Grimoire picked it up, so now he has to pretend it is.
That's how it works.
Yes, very nice. Where is that bird of Flora's? It's been a while since I've seen it.
So, Professor, what interests you about astronomy exactly?
It's not a matter of being interested. Once you expand your mind to the wider universe, it cannot be unexpanded.
Mm-hmm. And how long have you been an astronomer?
I really don't like to give exact values unless I'm sure I can quantify them.
Convenient.
Why do you ask me these things?
I have a theory about you, Professor.
Oh? Go on.
You're not really interested in astronomy at all.
What could you possibly mean by that?
I think you're interested in a slightly different field of research.
I don't have time for tiny, insignificant insects. My studies focus only on the inconceivably large and the unimaginably far away.
Right. That's why you like using your telescope so much.
Yes, naturally. My little portal into another world.
Yeah, about that. Pointer's telescope was actually looking at the crime scene and not up at the sky.
First you accuse me of being a lowly entomologist. Now you're accusing me of, what, spying?
Are you spying?
Why would I need to spy on Flora?
Why? Because you lost your golden beetle specimen, and it's made you paranoid. You think somebody stole it from you.
Might not have been Flora you were spying on. Might have been Freya.
It's It's a very precious specimen, incredibly rare, valuable in ways you could never understand. Freya was always sneaking around, both towers and in the gardens too. She was definitely up to something.
So, this next question is important. You were looking to Flora's room around the time of the murder. Did you witness the crime, Professor?
No, I didn't. When I looked into the room, Flora was already lying on the floor.
Flora? You mean Freya?
No, Flora. She was lying by the window. I couldn't see Freya at all. It was fairly dark. The telescope isn't at a very good angle. That's why I decided to head over there myself. I needed to know what was going on.
This changes your statement, doesn't it?
No, everything I told you in my statement was true.
Apart from the reason you left your tower in the first place.
Right.
Let's go over what we know about the crime scene.
Погоди.
Freya was definitely up to something.
Something to do with the statue in the garden, I think.
Maybe we should go back and check. And we could have missed something.
Это тоже позже. Вначале мы пройдемся с подозрениями, а потом уже все остальное.
Is that for sewing?
Maybe?
We have no idea.
It's that bird. But these must have been drawn at least a year ago. Oh, how sad.
So, yeah, we found this.
Oh, that's nothing.
You wrote, "Now I'll get her," on a piece of paper and hid it in your room. That's not nothing.
Actually, it's not the message I wanted to ask about. It's those red flower petals.
The petals.
They're from red roses. And there's only one place in Tangle Tower with red roses.
We need a clue. Something that shows the roses. And who they belong to.
Так.
It's a drawing of Fitz and Poppy in the rooftop garden. See what Fitz is holding?
I can't imagine what you're getting at. But it doesn't matter. I couldn't have taken anything from the rooftop garden. It's only accessible from Fitz's room or Poppy's room. How could I have taken something from a garden to which I have no access?
Is it really only accessible from those two bedrooms?
For most people, it would be. But don't forget, Penny's the resident ornithologist.
My dears, what are you accusing me of?
One of Penny's birds was used to spy on Poppy and Fitz and steal evidence from them. We know those two have been spending time together in the rooftop garden. I'm guessing you got paranoid. Wanted to know what they were up to.
I'm just not the jealous type. I would never suspect Fitz of anything like that. Besides, Tabitha hardly ever leaves her cage. She's certainly never flown up to the rooftop garden.
We need a clue to compare with Penny's birds. Something to prove one of them has been in the rooftop garden.
О, это легко.
Let's take a closer look at these. This yellow feather was left behind by Penny's yellow bird when it visited the rooftop garden.
I can't stand it! Knowing the two of them are hidden away up there in their private little garden. I couldn't risk spying on them myself, so I asked dear Tabitha to do it for me. I knew she'd be able to bring me back some evidence.
Sorry, Penny, but are you not overreacting a little?
You don't understand. Fitz is slipping away from me. He's so quiet with me these days. But being with Poppy seems to bring him out of his shell. I don't know what he sees in her miserable little... I apologize. This really isn't your burden to bear.
Опа. Пошла Санта-Барбара по полной.
Where did you find this?
It was in the attic.
Oh, huh. I forgot we even had an attic. How sweet.
I need to confirm something with you, Poppy.
Confirm away.
What can you tell us about this cassette tape? Is it yours?
It belongs to Freya. She liked to have music playing while she was painting, you know.
And do you know what kind of music is on this tape?
No idea. Acid jazz?
It's piano music. Sounds an awful lot like your music, to be honest.
Sure it doesn't belong to you?
Why are we even talking about this? Cassette tapes have been redundant for a good few years now.
The tape was found at the crime scene. It was in the gramophone.
It's not mine. I'd never own anything like that.
Why not?
Not my color.
А вот тут я с вами не согласен.
You used to like these colors.
Ridiculous.
We need a clue to compare with the cassette tape. Something that proves Poppy used to like these colors. Let's take a closer look at this. The pink cassette tape almost.
Ну да, неправильно там.
The pink cassette almost. Maybe just. The pink cassette tape found at the crime scene matches the pink cassette player used by Poppy in this old photo.
That is not me.
Yeah, it is. I'll prove it. You look a little different, but Fifi and Freya are pretty recognizable. It's clearly a photo of you with your two best friends. Why'd you tear it up and then hide it?
I think the answer is pretty straightforward. Poppy doesn't want to look like that anymore.
That's it. Makes this whole thing seem kind of irrelevant.
Maybe. It depends on the reason.
The reason she doesn't want to look like that anymore?
The passage of time is a powerful thing.
Hold on. This means that pink cassette tape does belong to you, Poppy.
It used to. I recorded some piano music onto it and gave it to Freya as a gift. Years ago.
Freya could have easily been listening to this tape at the exact moment she was killed. There's gotta be a connection between the tape, the gramophone, and the murder.
There's one other thing I want to know. How did it get that crack down the middle?
I have no idea.
Мы узнаем, что все новое и новое.
Did Freya draw these?
Yeah. There's a note in the back, too.
She was even closer to Flora than I realized.
Чем любой член ее семьи, кажется.
So, Fitz, I have a report that you were seen sneaking up Pointer Tower. Holding a knife.
That's not right. I don't go into Pointer Tower. I don't own a knife. And I don't sneak. Was it Fifi who told you this.
How did you know that?
A guess. She doesn't like me very much. But yeah, she was mistaken. Maybe she wasn't wearing her eye lens thing.
What do you think, Grimoire?
Fifi did see Fitz, but he was holding something else.
So, if it wasn't a knife, what was it?
Так,
What about this?
Ah, that.
Is it yours?
It was a gift. It's sentimental. I have no reason to take it up Pointer Tower. I don't use it at all.
я тут с вами не согласен.
An ornate trowel is used by Fitz to look after a potted flower in Penny's room.
That flower.
Yes.
I've never seen it before.
Ой, да
We
ладно.
need a clue to compare to that flower. Something that proves its connection to Fitz.
Так, где был этот... Вот он.
Let's take a closer look at these. The pot and soil in Penny's room matches the pot and soil found in Fitz's greenhouse. Let me guess. Penny's flower was originally a gift from you, Fitz. There's no way it's a coincidence.
No way what's a coincidence.
The flower. It looks exactly like Penny.
It took me a long time to breed. I wanted the colors to be exactly right.
That's some gift.
Turns out Penny isn't particularly interested in looking after plants. So I go into her room every now and again. And when she's not there, water the flower, change the soil. Just trying to keep it alive.
Ха. Но заметьте, это доказывает любовь Фитца к Пенни. То есть он пытался вырастить, то похоже на нее и до сих пор за ним ухаживает. Если даже не в физическом, то, смотрите, в метафорическом, и как правильно сказать, в смысле, это очень, так, знаете, прям показывает его любовь к ней. И если смотреть это как метафору, то это показывает, что, то есть, что он заботится о цветке, о Пенни как о цветке. То есть он не хочет, чтобы цветок завял, чтобы это как бы не доказывало, что как метафора, что любовь их все же уже все. То есть, что он ее уже не любит. Он заботится об этом цветке. Если смотреть это как на метафору, то это похоже, что он заботится как о их любви. То есть он не хочет, чтобы их любовь завяла. Очень красиво.
Does Flora still own that bird? Do you know?
Don't think so. The drawings are from a few years ago.
I see.
This little microscope thing, you said you used it to search the greenhouse.
And this would make perfect sense. If you knew what my client had asked me to find. Of course, I still have no intention of disclosing that information.
You're such a tease, Hawkshaw. Don't worry. We already worked out what you're searching for.
You're not as hopeless as you look.
Thanks.
So, that's what you were looking for in the greenhouse? This beetle?
Surely even you can understand the logic of it. The greenhouse is home to a great many insects. The gardener could have easily kept the beetle hidden in there.
Well, Fitz said you questioned him, but didn't actually search the greenhouse.
He is not exactly the type to appreciate subtlety. He simply didn't notice that I was using my microscope.
What do you reckon, Grimoire?
I know for a fact she didn't use the microscope in the greenhouse. It's not a microscope at all.
All of a sudden, Detective Grimoire is some kind of expert on microscopes.
вот ладно.
The handheld microscope, according to Fifi, uses a telescopic lens, so Hawkshaw lied about it. I'm inclined to believe Fifi when it comes to stuff like this.
Aksha, why did you lie about owning a telescope?
When you were a child, what did you aspire to become?
A detective? Naturally.
Emperor of the Galaxy.
I wanted to be an astronomer.
Really?
I harbored a desire to understand the secrets of the wider universe. A fool's errand, to be sure, but a seductive one. At 15, I decided instead to apply my intelligence to the world around me, and so I became a detective. But the yearning for elusive knowledge is a powerful force. I tried to keep it with me.
Sorry, but we're way off track. What's the deal with the little telescope?
A memento from my childhood. Little more than a toy.
Why did you bring it with you?
When I discovered that it was Professor Pointer who had hired me, I dared to consider it something of a planetary alignment. I had hoped he might sign my telescope. An extremely childish indulgence, I admit.
I never would have guessed.
Hold on. You're admitting you didn't use it in the greenhouse then?
Correct. As it happens, I have no need to search the greenhouse to such a degree. Professor Pointer doesn't consider the gardener a suspect in our theft investigation.
So, who is your suspect?
Things have become complicated. My lead suspect is your murder victim.
Ну да. Ну, знаете, вот теперь так Хокшоу больше показывается как человечное, а не холодное. Блин, вот как это прикольно все же иногда показывается в играх. Разные возможности персонажей. То есть, что мы о них... Первое впечатление, которое у нас было, когда мы с ними встречаемся, и вот дальше, когда мы вот уже находим больше этих улик и вот эти вот подозрения, все делаем, и узнаем о них что-то большее, что-то показывают, что они что-то... Не то, что о чем мы думали, что они холодные, глупые, слишком умные или что-то у них такое. Это показывается что-то большее. И мне нравится такое в играх, когда все же делается, что показывается не просто какая-то бывает шарма, шелуха, там, скрупа, а нечто большее. Конечно, некоторые игры переусердствуют с такими вот возможностями. А иногда делают их неправильно. То есть, например, показывают персонажа по тексту. Ну, то есть, больше персонажа можно узнать, например, из текстов. Бывает такое, что в книгах стоят там, в дневниках. Но ты просто часто не будешь смотреть в это, потому что нафиг тебе это не сдалось. А вот поговорить с ним, узнать что-то больше от других, поговорить с ним снова. То есть, вот такое вот показывается, что это просто... Конечно, не все будут ходить снова к тому же персонажу, чтобы с ним поговорить, но все же можно больше о нем узнать, и это красиво. Мне это нравится. Была бы категория, по которой можно было бы выбрать так игры, я бы, наверное, нажал бы, посмотрел бы пару игр, чтобы... Так вот, но нам оставили здесь вот такую вот штучку.
This wasn't here before.
Да, ее здесь не было.
What is it?
It's a little wooden toy. Looks kind of like a crab.
There's a note stuck to the back.
What does it say? Grimoire?
Это мой новый друг, ему нравится музыка. Игра растрогает простые мелодии. Удачи вам, Фрейя. Деревянная игрушка под стеклом, слой темных чернил.
What do you think? Is it really from her?
How can it be?
Why don't we check the handwriting with Freya's diary?
Good idea. Hold on.
Well?
It's a perfect match.
Well, it's confirmed. We have a ghost helping us.
Let's keep this to ourselves for now.
What about the little wooden toy thingy?
Maybe we can put it to some kind of use.
А применение все же есть. Потому что она даже написала это в своем дневнике. То есть, смотрите, вот деревянная игрушка. И в своем дневнике Фрея об этом писала. Тушенос сработал. Удивительная штучка. Теперь у меня их 2. Нужно еще 2. Удивительно, просто по сравнению с арфой. То есть, она использовала эту игрушку, чтобы разгадать вот этот вот пароль.
Let's come back later.
То есть, это надо, чтобы разгадать пароль. Но я покажу. Вначале посмотрим подозрения снова у нашей помощницы. И уже пойдем в следующем видео, я вам все покажу.
We know a little more about the crime scene now. So, what do you think? Was Freya stabbed by her own painting?
The painted ink. No? Blood from the paint. That's not right. Blood from the paint pot. Almost.
Не то.
Blood from the... That's not right either.
У меня тут неправильно.
Blood from the paint pot.
Да.
Was
Вот так
used to
вот,
paint the red tip of the painted ink dip feather to resemble a bloody knife.
Ну, я тут сам виноват.
I think you're right. Can't decide if I'm disappointed or relieved.
I have a question. Why?
Either it's a very strange coincidence, or somebody set it up.
Somebody deliberately put blood in the paint pot and hid that feather after the crime. Why? To distract us?
Possibly.
Well, it worked.
Possibly.
Flora's the only person who could have hidden the feather, unless someone took it from her.
Let's go over what we do know. The door was locked the whole time. It stayed locked until Fitz kicked it down. Normally, it can only be opened from the inside. Pointer said he couldn't see Freya from his telescope, but he did see Flora lying by the window.
So whatever got Freya got Flora too?
Except Flora survived. She didn't get a stab wound like Freya did.
Hold on. If there was no knife, then what did stab Freya?
It could be anything. It might not even be important.
How is it not important?
Right now, I'm less interested in the what, and more interested in the how.
Это
The
интересный
angle
вопрос.
of Freya's wound suggests she was stabbed at a perfect right angle. That is, from directly in front of her. But she was standing right up by the canvas.
Somehow, Freya ended up lying on her back, still perfectly in line with the painting.
Maybe something went through it.
Through the painting? Wouldn't that leave a hole?
Okay, well, how about this? How do we know Freya was stabbed before she fell over? Maybe her being stabbed and her falling over are completely unrelated.
Что ж, пока что у нас такие сомнения, но все мы это узнаем только в следующем видео. Может даже закончим, может быть нет, но здесь я с вами попрощаюсь уже. Надеюсь, данное видео вам понравилось. Прошу вас поддержать мой канал на YouTube, на Яндекс.Дзене. Подпиской, лайком, комментарием, YouTube колокольчиком, Яндекс.Дзен просмотрами. Желаю вам всего хорошего, желаю всего наилучшего. не болейте. Надеюсь, вы отлично встретите зимние праздники. И надеюсь, у вас стоит, красивая елка. Всем удачи и пока, мои дорогие друзья.